Hey guys, this week's show is brought to you in part by Bombas Socks, the most comfortable quality, best fitting socks on the market. It's the socks I wear every single day. I wear them to wrestling shows. I wear them under my wrestling boots. When I buy a pair, when you buy a pair, they donate a pair to someone in need. Do something great. Go to bombas.com/Colt. If you do, they'll give you 20% off your first order. And if you don't like them, just return them. No questions asked. Go enjoy yourself some new Bombas socks. But for now, enjoy the show.
This is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana. It's Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down. We're about to do it. This is The Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entryway into the minds and souls, the hearts and lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I am a conventioneer. I didn't want to be, but I am. I'm a traveler. I'm a traveling man. I'm a seamster. You know, I sit next to my sewing machine every single week. I do that, and I never really say I am a seamster, but I am. Most importantly, though, I am a professional wrestler, and I am sitting here live in my studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before I go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. Give it to you free of charge every single Thursday on ColtCabana.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts from. A couple great ways that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Helps the algorithm. Appreciate that. Tell a friend. Social media. I've been hearing bad things about this kick. I just watched a documentary on Netflix about sexting, and they say kick is bad news. So you know what? Stay off kick, you weirdos. But if you're on there, you know, tell the person you're creeping on, you know, they should also listen to my podcast. Best way to support, though, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, t-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads, lots of great stuff. Great way to support the podcast. Great way to support this man right here talking to you. ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. All right, as I started doing this podcast, I realized I can't hear very well out of one of my ears. I think I Q-tipped some stuff back into it. I still use Q-tips. There's got to be a better way. I know I asked you guys about my drain. P.S. Drain is back to sucking again. I think it's just an old-ass building. I'm pretty sure the apartment I live in is from like the 1800s. Legit, I think, or maybe early 1900s. I picked a good one, didn't I? Good news is, though, had a cleaning lady. She cleaned up the place. It's been a while. I don't know if I ever told the story of a cleaning lady who once came into my apartment and then ran away because she couldn't handle it. Definitely not from America. Definitely needed the cash and was like, no. I don't, nope, can't do this. I'll run away. Kasha, though, she nailed it. Clean apartment, clean life. Starting fresh, starting today. We're doing it. We're getting into it. I'm achieving goals. I'm doing comedy shows. Cincinnati, Louisville, and Chicago, April 28th, 29th, and 30th. Are you going to be there? It's Marty and I. We tell jokes over bad wrestling. It's so much fun. If you got a friend in the area, let them know. Cincinnati, Louisville, Chicago, we need your help. Life's good, man. You know, no complaints. Like, I'm just thinking how last week I was at House of Hardcore, and I just remember I was home for a couple days, and, like, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't want to be on the road. And then when I went on the road, like, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't want to be back home. And then I'm back home. It's like an ongoing cycle of enjoying yourself. So, no complaints there. The House of Hardcore show's always great. Tommy Dreamer, he just gets shit done. Like, he's just the man. I know you've heard him on this podcast before. Also, we did some salutes to Balls Mahoney this week. No 10-bell salute, just played his song, sang about balls in the arena each night. Tommy told some great stories about balls on this podcast, the live show we did last year from San Jose. I put a clip of that on my YouTube if you want to go check that out. You know, I never had balls on the show. I was close a couple times to asking him, but in the last couple of years, he was so frantic and all over the place. And I mean, I know that's how he always was, but I don't know. The way that I booked this show is just, I try to get a read on a guy, and I was never in a place or a position where I felt like he wanted to sit down. Like, he's always doing something. He's taking his kid around. Something was always happening, and who knew what kind of state of mind he was always in. I apologize that I never had balls on the show. I feel bad for the guy's kid. That guy lived life, man. You know, I did a tour of Australia. The first time I ever did a tour of Australia was with Balls Mahoney, and it was something else. He was something else, and he'll always have his place in pro wrestling history, Balls Mahoney. Rest him in peace-em. Rockstar Spud's on the show this week. I've known Spud forever. Forever I've known Spud, and I'm so proud of what's happened to him, how his career has progressed, how he's, made it over the pond. He's now an American star. He's a global star, and it's pretty impressive. And we get into that. I talk about that during this talk. One thing we do talk about is I wouldn't have brought it up. He wanted to bring it up. Bless him for bringing it up. Not that we got in like a little bit of an argument years ago, but it's all in the sight of the beholder, or the mind of the beholder. That made no sense, but you understand what I'm saying. In my eyes, like, he was just a little too much, and sometimes he could even still be that way, but this was years ago, and it's a little bit about that brotherhood of the wrestling fraternity or the wrestling locker rooms, and you've heard stories, especially like brutal ones, I guess, from the WWF. Even guys like Bob Holly, and Benoit were known for stuff like this, and not like that's my place in the wrestling locker room, but you do have to have order, and it's not just wrestling. I mean, that's how it works everywhere. Wrestling's just a little more barbaric, so it's magnified by like 3,000. And I think this was a Ring of Honor show overseas, and part of my job at that point with Ring of Honor was I was a veteran there, and I was I guess a policeman, if you will, and I let them know that this is just not how you act. I don't think I did it like a piece of shit. I always think I'm very self-aware for the most part. And we would see each other on shows, and it was always a handshake, how you doing, a little small talk. But he won British Boot Camp, he moved over to America, and I saw him on his last show there, and I made it a point to go up to him and tell him how proud I was of him. And I know that there was little weirdness, and I never meant it to be like that, and I apologized. And I wanted to make sure he knew, going forward, or just, in general, that let's make sure that there is no weirdness when we see each other. And we kind of get into that a little bit on the back end of this talk. And I'm glad that you guys are welcomed into this window of weirdness, which is our life. Big picture is, man, this is just some dudes doing some weird wrestling. Small picture is, though, there's always these weird little things that should mean nothing because of almost how weird and stupid our job is. I don't really mean that, but you understand what I'm saying. So that's just one of like many of the weird, minuscule, politic weirdo things that happen in wrestling, but we hit on a little bit, and I'm glad everything is cool, and Spud gets to be on the show today. We do have a song of the week this week, and it's brought to you by 54 Club and 54club.com. It's a club. It's kind of a clique. They're sending you sweet clothes that you get to wear out of Los Angeles once a month. You can't get these clothes in store. 54 is an actual brand itself. You got to be a member if you want to look this good. Listen, there's only so many times in my life I can wear a free wrestling t-shirt and the same sweatpants that I bought for 10 pounds at the Fringe Festival in 2013. I do wear them a lot. I got to get out of this habit. And I know you're probably the same way, or maybe your husband or your boyfriend. And if you do have a clothes budget, then this is for you. 54 Club is $60 and free shipping. Each club delivery, they send you sweet clothes that are hip and fit your fashion sense. My fashion sense, I picked casual, but they also got classic, forward, and mix. It's the perfect way to build up your wardrobe. You can have options, different seasons, different looks, and you don't have to go shopping around. They just send it to you. 54club.com. If you dig it, sign up. Use the promo code COLT. Get 50% off your first month. That's $30 your first month. Go to 54club.com. Use that code COLT. Get 50% off. Start looking good. All right, last week for the song, I played the sweet 1993 Conan joint, Wrestlers Singing. I'm all about it. I did tell Rocky Romero that I was going to play his song during the Conan one, but I forgot Conan sang, so I had to play a Conan song. This week, Rocky, I'm playing your weird songs, don't worry. And if you want to buy some of his songs, the album has dropped at rockyromero.bandcamp.com. He's on Twitter at AzukaRock. This one, it's called Dustin's Song, which is basically Rocky Romero saying sorry to Chuck Taylor for breaking up the best friends tag team of Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. Enjoy it. We'll be back with Rockstar Spud. And go.
It's your show.
And go.
I don't want.
Why are you wearing a bow tie?
I'm not wearing a bow tie.
Why are you wearing a bow tie?
I'm not.
This?
It's
And
casual.
What is this suit you're wearing?
It's not.
This is such a weird
It's a
suit.
Patrick Swayze t-shirt.
This is such a weird suit. See, they don't know. Theater of the mind.
I know.
Also, I just cracked my voice because
Is yours crackly too? Mine feels terrible. I think I've been drinking all week. I'm probably drunk now, but I haven't drank today, so it's just probably in the bloodstream.
Do you think the world that knows lovable Spud thinks of you as a drinker? I think you just like cracked yourself here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm a bad guy now, so I drink. Grr. So I don't know. It's all gone downhill in a matter of weeks.
Are you a drinker?
I dabble, but a lot.
What's the drink of choice?
Since I've moved here, Coors Light bottled because I really like iced beer. Because in England it's not iced. I know you're not a drink. You're still not a drinker.
I'm not, but I mean I understand the idea. I remember when I'd go to a club, I guess in England, iced beer. You'd see that what WK2s,
WKD Blue.
WKD Blue.
Do you remember when you came to the when you came over probably like the first time to England, and there was like the most rotten nightclubs we took you in Dudley, and it was just so, and Stourbridge. Did
I drink?
I think you had the odd one, but this was like 2004.
Yeah,
5.
but still, like you might like. Even then, I remember I was on that trip. It was a 3-month trip. Right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm young. Like, even then I didn't drink, but I was like, I'm young. I'm in England. Like, maybe I should drink, you know? And like a couple, like I'd say like if I was there 3 months, like I might have gotten drunk like 7 of the nights.
Yeah. I know you were with Declan a lot as well, so you probably got drunk a lot then.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So he forced you out to Jabez Clegg or whatever it was.
What's that?
That awful club, Jabez Clegg.
Jabez,
he used to take us to.
Which anyone in Manchester, I guess.
So bad.
This is very Manchester focused right now, this podcast. Yeah, yeah, I just remember those
KD Blues.
WKD Blues.
Smirnoff Ices, and they're all
In
over
the
here now.
back and just a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Is that, so you're saying that's all, that's how it's
That's
done in
all.
England?
It's iced over, so you can't buy. But they won't have like a big tub of ice like you guys do.
Oh, you like the tub girls.
Yeah, man. And like they have, they won't put their hand in there and have an ice cold and then take it off for you or anything like that. It's really weird. So it's room temperature beer essentially, or just refrigerator beer, but not so cold. And over here, I wasn't a beer drinker at home or out of draft or anything, but now it's anytime there's a bottle of Coors Light, it goes down so much smoother because it's ice cold.
What about I have found myself, so now living the luxurious world of the professional wrestling and flying all over the stuff, I can sneak into these the lounge, the flight lounge, and I like they have they're like frozen glasses.
Yeah.
That they have for the beer, but I get it for the Diet Coke, and it's like the most no ice, frozen glass, and then put the most refreshing.
And
thing.
they do that in the Mexicans down Nashville. They freeze these massive flagons. I call it a flagon, like I'm a pirate or something. But these massive
Steins.
Innkeeper, fill my flagon again. It's a massive
mug, yeah, or a
it's
stein,
huge pint glass.
Right?
Just is that what they call it here, a stein or something?
God, maybe that's
so huge.
so
but
German
it's an
of me.
ice cold. Yeah, it looks like a German beer. But
Right.
obviously, I've only seen it in a Mexican restaurant, but yeah, they just put the beer in there and it stays iced for longer.
So that's. Are you back now in Nashville?
Yeah. I was back in the UK for about 3 to 4 months because there was a problem with my petition paperwork for my visa. So I was there for quite an extended period, but it's good to be back in America.
So this is home now.
Yeah.
Like, let's say throw everything out the window, just whatever. Like, who knows what your life is going to be?
Yeah.
Would you want to be an American?
I'd want to be in America. Yeah. I think obviously I'm on a performer's visa, so it's every 2 to 3 years it gets renewed. So it's just a case of staying employed.
But you could see yourself being an American forever.
Yeah, I'd have to make a
It'd be
complete.
so scary to me. I think
It is, mate. Honestly, it's in the back of my mind a lot, and it causes a lot.
because I know you're a thinker.
I'm an overthinker, and it causes a lot of added stress, and it does. It's always sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, like you have one of them premonitions of, you hear all the talk of people going on about, Tuna will be out of business tomorrow. And it does play on your mind as a performer because, it's not just fuck TNA or anything like that. It plays on your mind of my life could be so impacted in regards to I'd have to move back to England.
So you're paranoid that you'd have to go back to. I'm saying just the idea of like let's say for me, like the idea of like, okay, going in England and just living there for the rest of my life would be very scary to me. Even if like I found the perfect situation, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I guess like home's always home and it's always comfortable and that's what you know. But that's not scary at all. The idea of like, oh, I can be in Nashville till I'm 80 and dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'd love to be. And
Do you drive here?
Yeah. But I don't own a car, but I can drive. And what I've figured out, I mean, looked at as many carny ways to save money because I don't know if someone like myself is ever going to get the opportunity to work for a company. I can earn the money I am doing what I love. So I use Lyft all the time and Uber. And, it's tax write-off at the end of the year because I use it for work. I use it to go to the gym. I use it to, if I'm going to go downtown.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is what I always say. Like, I hate people who use the excuse tax write-off. You still have to spend that fucking money.
You do have to spend the money.
It's not like it's free money.
It's not free money.
Yeah.
But it's good that you can use it as your deductibles as
Sure,
well.
but I live in the city where, but I do have a car, but like I could, if I wanted to. A lot of people in Chicago ditch their cars. I think it's a lot like London.
I really miss public transport here, like in England. It's very relied upon in the UK, and there's not that much of it over here.
I think it's always fun. Like, so like, and we can talk about like the UK scene. When I was over there, I really learned that a lot of people did not have cars. There was a lot, you could get away. I mean, and I think Doug Williams said it like, first, like, you should have a car. I remember him saying, like, you should have a car if you're a wrestler.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys who got away with not having a car.
Right.
There's a lot of guys over here. There's not a lot. There's some over here who don't have a car.
That's mental.
And it's crazy.
I mean, I rent cars when need to. And as I said, use the Lyft and Uber services, but it's
like, not to call out DJ Z, but he doesn't have a,
he doesn't have a car.
He's in Chicago, and he's
that Zima.
Yeah, and I went to a show, and he's like, "Can I get a lift?" I was like, "This is a 2.5 hour drive, and then a 3 hour drive the next day, and you were just gonna like if I said no, what were you gonna do?" He's like, "I don't know, I'd find a way." I was like, "What are you doing?"
I mean, I always make the promoter aware that I'm happy to jump in with anyone, or if you can put that on my fee, like not a problem. I'll drive up to you, how many miles away it is, because I mean, I miss the house show loops that we used to do because it'd just be me, Borash, or Joe in a rental car. And I'm seeing America, so I'm like, yeah, they're like asleep, like, oh, I hate this. But I'm the driver as the young guy, and I'm happily just driving because I'm like, this is America.
Yeah. And I'm sure it would wear off eventually, but
probably.
But you were a driver in England,
yeah,
and I think that was. Not a thing, no, but I think you drove all over the place.
All the time, and I had the smallest Ford KA, as they call it, and it was
they all have tiny cars over there, right?
Mine was so tiny. But it was a typical wrestler's car. You buy it brand new, and then by the time you give it up, it's trash.
Yeah.
Just food wrappings,
How long did you have it?
Probably about 8 years, and then I exchanged it for a 2-seater, which was kind of carny of me because I was like, one, I'm going to get a nice car. Two, oh, sorry, mate, you need 4 of us to get there. I can't drive.
I feel
because everyone was destroying the last one, so I'm like, well, I've done my shift now. Fuck you.
I think when I remember being young and we do all these trips and I'd be like, oh man, I should get like a van, or imagine if I had a giant camper and like everyone could get in my car. And you're thinking about how you can like
be really helpful and it'll help you get booked and everything. But then you get in Brian's Beast and you see them all all of us sitting on top of the luggage. And I always go in the back because I'm the little one. So I'm like, I don't mind, stick them all over me. But
I think, you get in and you do a lot of time and you're just like, oh, how can I get away with never being the driver?
You're just dreading who's on the loop. Like if there's a lot of big lads and you're the little one, like they prefer it when it's me because it's like half a person getting in there, so or another girl, so they've got room. But
what do you remember? It's weird. They say from the top of let's say that from the bottom of England to Scotland, 10-hour drive. Is that
about that? Yeah.
But I found like when you start heading west and east, you start adding on
extra
hours, right?
Hours because of the B roads, and they're just so in and out countryside and strange. And
have you done some crazy drives or some
weird loops in regard, like when there's no lights around these woods and you want to get home, so you know it might be a 50 mile an hour, but you're doing a little bit more,
right?
Because you just want to get the hell out of there, or you're late, or you know.
I appreciate saying mile per hour for me.
Yeah, miles per hour. MPH.
I wouldn't know what the KMs are. Doing 113 k means nothing to me.
Why do they do that in Europe? It's really strange.
Like, in England, no.
In England, not in England, but they do.
You guys do miles per hour?
We do miles per hour, yeah. But in Europe, it's kilometers.
Right?
Really
Yeah. Oh, okay, I thought you were.
Always found it strange.
I thought you weren't a miles per hour guy.
No,
I thought you were doing that for my sake.
No. We're sadly MPH.
Yeah.
We're not that. not that, what was it called? The mathematical grammar, or was it, or something? Is it that?
And it's something, I don't know, the metrics to the something.
Metric, yeah. And that's why I'm a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I believe it or not, I used to work at a bank, and so I should know that stuff. I found England really weird that they teach you, or school in general, that they teach you so much about maths, and then you get a job and with like fractions and percentages and everything. Then you get a job and you just use a calculator. In any job. I
feel and you're younger than me, but I feel they even learned, like, when I was in school, that, like, we started being allowed to use a calculator because they're like, this is real life and it's kind of silly. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like you don't need it, but they convince you that you did, so you're scared about what's going to happen in adult life.
There's a lot of subjects that I wish I had paid attention, history being one, so I could, like, have sweet things to talk about and remember, or know where I've came from. Spanish, so I could go and wrestle in Mexico or whatever. Yep. But never math. Like, I give two fucks that I don't remember math.
Phys ed, I think I wish I paid more attention to, because I'm crap at it.
So listen, I've always told you that I think your story is so important, because however it's looked at, it is, I mean, you were, and I knew you from the first or second year you were in wrestling.
Yeah.
And, not that I'm going to be one of these guys that's just like, at that time, maybe I was 6 or 7 years in wrestling, and I was the American over there, and you just see a lot of guys, and like you did have, even then you could tell, like, you had, talent, or you could move, or you were an idiot at least. But it's just like, well, here's another just small ass dude who probably, like, not that I would say to myself, like, we'll never make it, but you have that idea. It's just like, look at this poor guy. Just like, I don't know how he thinks he's ever gonna, like.
I didn't.
And then full circle, here we come, and like, flown to America, whatever is happening right now, it's such a great story, man.
You're a sweetheart. You made me blush. It's a case of I'm doing the nervous smile, and I can't look you in the eye now because it's like, thanks, mate. It's I think that's why I'm so upbeat and positive about it all, regardless of, you meet so many salty people about it all, and I can get salty, because I care. Do the British people call them salties? No, I think they just call them just grumpy twats. Or something. I thought that was like a cute British slang. The salties. It sounds Australian, actually. Joe said it. He goes, "There's a lot of salty dogs in this business," yeah, so I just kept it as salties. But it's that's why I'm so upbeat and positive, because you can. I never see anyone as a failure in this business, and because everybody that got into it, you got all these people that go, I went here and I failed, or I did this and I failed, or I was a wrestler and I didn't get to WWE and I failed, and this happened, that happened. You impacted someone else's life on a show that came and paid to see you, and you made them care. All your friends that are telling you that, oh, you're not very good, oh, why are you doing that, it's silly, or why are you doing this, it's silly. You did what you wanted to do, and you accomplished it. And instead of pissing it down the drain at a weekend, 9 to 5, you're actually traveling the country, traveling the world. You're going to, meet people would you have met the people you've met if you hadn't have just decided, I'm going to wear Lycra pants for a living and be a professional wrestler? Even just you and I, it's just like, that would have never, because I always say, like, man, I'm such from like a suburban town where everyone's just kind of, you see them on Facebook, and I'm sure you're the same way. It's just like, just a white dude place, and just just the first name that pops like in my head is Bushwhacker Luke. It's like, oh, I'm friends with this old New Zealand dude who's got the craziest scarred up head, and like I don't have a second thought about that that he's my friend. And if I was to take this home to like my high school friends and be like, "Hey, here's Luke," they'd be like, "What the fuck?" Right? It's like the weirdest thing. Drop a name, but like you've got like Kurt, who's I've watched on television as a child, and I walk up to him and he gives me a big hug, like a big uncle. Like, good to see you, like everything, and you've wrestled this person, and it's so like rewarding and stuff. Here's a question when it comes to Kurt Angle: do you ever feel as less of a human being? It's he's a cyborg. Well, I'm saying just the fact that he's like an Olympic gold medalist. Like, it's like, oh, I'm nothing. You're, what am I doing? And you're a complete monster. Yeah. But the nicest man in the world and the most giving dude, because he's just so comfortable knowing that, I'm the baddest man on the planet. Yeah, it's got to be pretty. I can't be destroyed. But I feel very less than. Yes. To bring this back to learning in math class. I never, when there's those dudes that walk into places and they walk around and you go, that's the one everyone respects and everything like that. I just want to know, how did they know that happened? How does it become that one? You know, when you walk around, you don't.
It's because he's so grizzled and hurt that he could barely walk. So he looks like a sweet old sensei.
But he looks like the man.
Yeah,
and you're like, I want to be the man. How do
like old grandpa the man? Not saying he's old grandpa, but the way he walks because he's so like hurt. And then when the cameras turn on, he's just like
It's insane.
Yeah,
like he hobble. I've seen him at go position, sitting there with the towel on, and they're like, Kurt, yeah, you're up next. Okay. Takes the towel off, stands up, bunch of squats, out he hobbles up the steps, music hits, boom. Like the robot's been turned on, comes backstage, puts the towel over his shoulder again and sits there and watches the monitor.
I'm trying to think. Well, they said that about somebody else, and
he watches everything.
There was someone who used to get like, and maybe it was Kerry Von Erich, and I'm not saying this. It's kind of the same way as like who'd get just fucked up with drugs, and then the camera goes on, and then they're just like a machine, and they can do it, and then they get back to the stage, and then they're just still like fucked.
Insane.
It's the same way with like Kurt, like he's just like he's just hurts, and his body hurts, and then camera on, and he's just the man, yeah. And then once it's off,
I think Marty Skrull does that as well. Like he drinks like a maniac, and Zach as well. Yeah. And then they go in there and go, God, I'm so hungover, I'm gonna tear it up,
right? And
then come backstage like, oh, I feel terrible. I went, you would never have known.
You just had the greatest match ever. Did I?
But then like you hear stories of like Ric Flair and like that Terry Taylor one where Terry Taylor's bricking his pants about, oh my God, I'm wrestling Ric Flair tonight, and he hasn't shown up. Shows up 5 minutes before the show starts, wrecked. And he goes,
no.
Sir, we're working tonight. I'll talk to you in a minute. And Taylor's pacing up and down, don't know what to do. And like 5 minutes before he goes, all right, I'll talk to you. And he's still a wreck. So Taylor's pacing, this guy's here to make me. Oh my God, what the hell? We're not going to get through this. And then Flair just leaves the dressing room 5 minutes later, hair immaculate, looking immaculate, and walks out and goes, see you out there, kid. And they're doing 45 and Terry Taylor's telling him to stop, go home. And it's like the most nut story.
I like the idea of, it's like a movie, almost like the door opens and then just that quick jump and he's back, and then he's all of a sudden just made up.
He's let everyone ride Space Mountain at the Marriott, gone to the beach, tanned, turns up with his sunglasses on because he's red eyes all the way down his face. He's just like,
So getting back to the idea is, no, nothing to be sorry about, is you didn't expect any of this, so it's all fucking. What would the British term be? It's all cheek roses.
It's all
chocolate candies.
It's all a big birthday cake at the moment. But like when I first started watching wrestling, I never thought I'd meet the guy that I was watching it on my independent tapes that I was working for Feds in my first year. Hey, I'll work, but do you reckon you can give me like 4 Ring of Honor tapes? Yeah, no worries, man. These VHSs, and then they're like, Colt Cabana's doing this talking over here. Colt Cabana's doing this. And then you meet the guy, and you're like, I've watched you on tape, and it's just the same. Like I'm still the biggest wrestling fan I used to as a kid, and that's how I still feel when I meet people in a way. And everyone can go to it. Oh, you're a mark, bro. Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I ended up doing this. And I don't see people in movies or television when they have photos with people, and get treated any less because these are people that you've met on your journey.
When did you stop? When did you start? It's funny. Kurt Hawkins is a guy who just recently was like, why haven't and it started with Piper when he died. He's like, why haven't I? He's like, I was on a show with Piper, and it's not my story to tell, but I'll tell it. Yeah. He's like, I was on a show with Piper, and I saw him, and I was like, I should get a picture with him. And then he's like, I didn't, and then he died like a couple weeks later, and then he's just like, picture crazy now. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Did you have a point where you're like, fuck this, I got to get these pictures with these dudes?
I still don't. And I hate it.
You don't what? You don't take them?
I don't take them.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you do take them.
No, early on.
You desperately want to.
I want to.
So bad.
Just everyone. It's like today, I'm sitting with Nash all day and Mean Gene, and Mean Gene's the sweetest dude ever, and I'm sitting with him, I'm like, that's Mean Gene. This is like the guy that grew me up, like brought me up when I'm watching TV, put that cigarette out.
Yeah.
And can't do it. And I think that was something that was instilled in us when FWA days and stuff, where if you do that, you're a mark, and you shake a hand this way and you do this, but you don't ever be lower. You're on the same show. You have to. You'll never be respected if you do things like that. It's not a meet and greet in the back, and you're like, okay, but then.
So I mean, where do you lay on that though?
I wish I'd have took photos and had all these memories.
Because I mean, I get it to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't go up to him and like, hey man, you're my favourite wrestler or anything like that.
Yeah.
Asking for a picture with someone's like, But you end up doing, where I think it's more convenient is like, you've gone out for beers, we're all in a bar. Hey man, we should get a picture together.
Hey, this is great. Let's get a picture to remember that.
Like not like.
But you're secretly like, I've been trying to get this picture. Okay, this is the right moment.
Absolutely. And
you can't let that control your life, though.
I know. And then some of them you don't even become friends with, so it will never happen.
You're right.
So, but you've got in-ring photos with them. They're like, oh, that'll do. that'll be fine.
I remember I wrestled Johnny Saint, and I.
Oh, you always wanted that,
and I always wanted it, and so God, I'm gonna screw up his name. I want to say it was Paul Douglas.
Yeah,
Paul Douglas made up this poster of the, and I was like, I'm gonna get him sign it, and I was like, I don't want to be such a mark to have Johnny Saint sign my poster. Like it's a poster, it's like looks like an old British poster.
Colt Cabana
versus Johnny
awesome.
Saint, and it says like old world of sport, blah blah blah, or whatever it is. And I was just like, well, what's he gonna do? Like go to the locker room and be like, Colt's a mark, like? So I was like,
he's a real horrible man.
Yeah, like is he? Fuck it, like he won't even remember this tomorrow. This is very important to me, and that's on my wall today. So
that's awesome.
That was the situation.
That's real cool.
So you were one of those wrestling kids, love wrestling.
Yeah.
Just always. Did you? I guess the question is always been a small kid. Yeah.
Yeah, always. Never.
I guess what I don't know how the other. I don't know if the answer would be yes to that.
Yeah, because he's still short, and I'm standing with two 13-year-old kids today. One's Al Snow's future stepson, one's Dave Hero's son, and Cal's 13, and he's a clear 1.5 taller than me. I question my life sometimes, but
or your parents. Why can't you be taller?
My dad was a Libra, my mum was a leprechaun, and that's why I'm a leprechaun. So it's I just I embraced it always, but because you're the short kid, sometimes it gets to a point where like you're like I mean, it's just my personality, but like you become notice me and little man syndrome. But I've never been one of them ones that wanted to be big or walk around. Look, if I act big, people will treat me big. I just embraced it, even in wrestling. Just I'm the short guy. That'll do.
But you say that you did have to become a Spitfire talk mouth, right?
A little bit. Well,
do you remember Do you remember like the time? Does that spark a memory of like when you were like being a little talky dude?
I was just a gobby little shit. Like at school. That's all it was. And just I think that's what happens. You either go certain ways, and like I've got ADHD as well, so I'm all like when I'm hyperactive. Everyone knows I'm hyperactive, and I can't actually calm myself. I need someone to go, James, James, calm down. Oh, right. So I know it's happening.
Yeah, or diagnosed ADHD.
Yeah. I got overexcited. It was the time when England went crazy diagnosing ADHD, but I got diagnosed like later, like in my 20s. Like, oh yeah, you do have this happening. I go, why didn't you tell me when I was younger?
That would have been nice to know.
But it wasn't the child side effect of the month back then, but it became down the road and just, that's one of them things.
And then where does wrestling come in? Do you have siblings? I forget.
I've got a brother. Robbie will tell you all about it. Why don't you speak to your brother, mate? We are two totally different people. We don't speak. I don't have his number. I don't have his Facebook.
Whoa.
There's no deep-seated tale. We're just two different dudes.
How far apart?
2 years.
2 years.
Tom's very introvert.
Is he older or younger?
Younger. And Tom's very introvert, and I'm very extrovert.
Is that from the beginning? You just didn't have...
Pretty much, yeah. And he looks nothing like me.
You were around each other, and you just, like, in the house, and just...
Staying in the same room, we'd dig at each other and everything. I think it was... Tom.
Come on, there's got to be something deeper there.
I don't think so. There's never been a problem. Like, this will be the conversation at Christmas. Like, we don't see each other rarely. Like, I see my brother's dog more than him.
Does that make you sad?
Yeah, it does in a way. And I have made efforts, but it just... That's who Tom is, and it's nothing I can really do. Wow. And I've lived with it, and I don't love him any less or, hate him at all. It's just, I wish it would be better, but sometimes there's some people you're never ever going to be able to connect with in life, and it's hard having to accept that's your brother. Yeah. And because it's easy to accept when it's a person that you're just going to see at work or friend or something. So it's, it's one of them things, but like, when the conversation will go like this, how you doing, Tom? Fine. You? Yeah. How's Sheffield? Sound. How's wrestling? Cool, man. Really good. And I'll have a story to tell. And then, like, you find yourself, and even with your normal friends.
Does he listen to the story? Or?
Yeah, but he doesn't look interested. He's like, all right, well, glad it's going well for you. And just carries on with his day. But you get friends like that where, like, have you ever been told that you talk about yourself a lot or anything? Because I have, where you go, how's work, man? Because you're interested in their life, but then they give you nothing back. And then they go, how's work? But you've got so much to tell because of what an interesting business we're in.
Yeah.
That you're talking a lot longer than them. So then it feels like you're very me. And you don't mean to be. It's just, well, you'll never guess what. I have to tell you the story because if I don't tell someone, I'll go insane. You're not in the business, so I can tell you this. This happened. They're like, all right, yeah. And that's what it probably is like with Tom, where I'm just talking.
At least you're not self-aware in the moment.
Yeah.
But you're self-aware. You get it.
I get it later on. My self-awareness is terrible. Like, I mean, I'll drop an F-bomb, as I probably have done on this, and you're probably going to go, we're going to have to do that again.
No, please.
Swearing.
We can fucking swear.
So I
as
drop
much as you want.
the C word, and then all of a sudden, a small child will just appear.
Right.
Oh, for God's sake. And the parents just like, tutting.
They're like, you're lucky you're a child.
Terrible language.
To you.
I have terrible language, just terrible.
Where's your mom at?
You know what I mean?
I'm 27 years old, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So obviously you didn't share love with wrestling with your brother or anything else.
Believe it or not, we did. And that was the little bit that we did bond on.
Yeah.
And he was a Bret the Hitman Hart guy, and I'd be Shawn Michaels. If I was Hulk Hogan, he'd be the Ultimate Warrior. And that's probably why we've battled all them years as brothers. So, but he stopped watching it around like 12. And I just carried on watching it because just fascinated by it, loved it.
Like Seidel would say, he was like fascinated by Rey Mysterio, and obviously the little guys are always like the little guy. Billy Kidman, I think, was a guy for everyone.
Yeah.
Were you a guy who was like loved the little guys, or was it just anyone?
Yeah, but it was mainly anyone. The main eventers always captured me, like Hulk and Rock and Austin. And all
Did
that
you
stuff.
like specifically look at a guy Rey Mysterio and goes, "Oh, I can do it now"?
Spike Dudley, yeah.
Spike Dudley
was the one because he just looked normal.
Yeah.
Just a normal dude in dungarees. I was like, and he just got thrown around, and I was like, well, that's how I am at football or rugby or anything. This is what happens in my day-to-day life at school. I can do this.
And then when did you start training?
2001.
How old were you?
I was 18 years old.
18 years old.
Yeah.
I guess like the question is like, was there a time where you were like, I don't think I can do this, and then you're like, I can do this, or were you always like, I can do this, I'm just waiting till I get older? Because and specifically, I'm kind of saying because of the size.
Yeah,
right?
there was never any thought about the size to me. It was just like, I'm going to be a wrestler.
Okay.
I'm going to be a wrestler. I'm going to be a wrestler. And I never thought that it'd affect me because I thought, well, if I'm going to be the small guy, I mean, you never learn how to work as the small guy originally, but I think the first few weeks taking bumps and stuff, I was like, this hurts. But, you keep going back.
Did you realize almost more when you were in the business that like being the small guy was like, this isn't good for me?
Yeah, like doing loads of moves and stuff. I was just like, oh, hang on. And it was just, I knew when I was wrestling a big guy from watching wrestling all over the years what my role should be. So it was just a case of that, knowing, self-awareness, being bad, but in the height case, I know I'm the small one. I've dealt with it at school, everything like that. I know I'm the small one, so I have to wrestle like I'm the small one. But then you're doing whipping them off the ropes at times and head scissors and stupid shit. So it's like, yeah.
So who'd you go? Did you train with Kev O'Neill, or was that?
I trained.
Did I make that up?
No. I did train with Kev after. I trained with this school called K-Star Wrestling originally, which was a Thai boxing gym, and Steve Logan was a World of Sport young boy. And I don't know if you ever saw Steve. He used to be a very scrawny guy, but in like yellow pants, and he always used to team with Big Daddy or stuff. Yeah, and you can see matches of him on YouTube all the time.
I know.
So I originally started with Steve.
Oh, get out of here!
And he took one seminar, and then the rest of it just left it to every one of his trainees to train you. So you were essentially self-trained. He took your first seminar to go, right, you've been accepted in the school.
Yeah.
So you think, God, I did so well in that seminar. I got accepted into the school. You turn up, everybody that was there was there.
Well, because when I was over there, and like, you and I want to say Morales, but that's Mastiff.
Dave Mastiff, Jack Storm.
Yeah, and it's like it seemed like a lot of just like young guys, and I was always like, there was never like maybe a head guy, but it's kind of in my mind I was like, probably like, where's the old World of Sport wrestler? And it's funny that there was one,
and that there was one, but he didn't want to.
But he had nothing to do with it.
He had Thai boxing, so that was bigger business, and he'd put on Thai boxing shows and stuff in halls. But there wasn't all of the ones that you reference old World of Sport guys. The closest ones were like Robbie and Frankie, and they were working for All Star. And people like Dean Allmark and Mikey Whiplash had just started around the same time we did up in Stoke. So they were all gone, and there was no veteran leadership, and there just wasn't any.
And that's what I noticed. Like it just seemed like a lot of like not inmates running the asylum.
Yeah,
but
that's what I describe it.
Yeah.
And I think the only veteran I encountered was away from that was Ricky Knight, which was Paige's dad, and Roy and Zach's dad, and it was just like, there's no one. But you thought Alex Shane was the veteran,
of course,
because he talked the talk, walked the walk, and they're the ones on TV, so they must be the ones that get it.
And I've thought about that too when I think about like the position, the power position when I was
21 or something.
Yeah, 22 years old.
22 years old, and he was running the radio. He was running Revival with Eddie Guerrero on, and like.
There's just people that do that.
Just by having the gift of the gab and being a tall, dark, handsome chap. And
it's fun to say that because I think the height is just like the intimidating factor of like a power position. I know he knew how to play that. And this is no rip at all on Alex. I love Alex. Yeah. I don't know if I love him, but I like Alex a lot. But that's just the fact of the way it is. And then you're the total opposite spectrum.
Yeah.
Just in terms of height of like how to maneuver people in this world, right?
Yeah. you kind of like, and it's like when I take seminars now, like you do get some of the big guys when and it's no knock on them, but if I'm watching in a ring and there's a guy who's pretty jacked, he's mid-size, say, and he's against a guy that's taller, but he's throwing the big guy around like he's the same height. I'm like, bro, work like you're smaller for this occasion, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And they think I'm trying to demoralize them because I've got a short man complex, but I'm not. I'm trying to help them and say, you have to in this occasion.
Well, do you even find that in? I want to hit that spot with like Alex is like, or at least tall people are like this. Did you ever see people like almost like taking advantage of you, maybe like trying to pay you less or like say like kind of like dismiss you just because you're small? Like
I don't know. I mean, I'll always have in the back of my mind, like, no wrestler blames himself, but sometimes you think, well, that's why they won't put me in this position because I'm short, or that's why they won't put me in this position because of this. I mean, you've only got yourself to blame a lot of the time. Maybe it's the way I carry myself. I don't know. But
yes.
With money, it's like, I've never had an issue with money. I'm the one of them people that doesn't, people will tell me till the cows come home, oh, you're this, you're this, you're this. But I'm one of them ones that probably don't value myself enough. But as I've got older, I have, and been more really strict with it now, compared to how I used to be when I was a lot younger when you'd meet me. £20, no problem. Go to the end of the bloody country, no sleep.
You have to do that. That's less as a small person and more as a young person.
It was never about the money.
Right.
It was about, I think you touched on it when you did that punk podcast all that time ago. That was wrestling, getting in a car with your mates, traveling for hours and hours, enjoying the ride and getting there and having the best time doing what you loved, and traveling home, sometimes having a laugh about what you saw, and going home and back to work on Monday.
And it's the worst where these young wrestlers are like, how do I get to WWE?
Yeah.
And if you live like that, you're not living. It should just be like, I'm going to have maybe, like I'm hoping for 4 months worth of bookings to just have the sweetest time ever and hope these bookings continue.
I don't think anyone really thinks about, I think the ones that really do well, like yourself, I mean, it never entered in my head going to WWE. It entered in my head, I want to be a wrestler. This journey just seems to keep going.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with it, see what happens.
Although at the same time, though, it's just like, so I'll say like, like some of the smartest people have a 5-year plan.
I know. Did you have a 5-year plan?
No, but who's the comedian? Jimmy Carr, Jimmy Carr? Yeah, Brendan Burns, who I did the comedy show in Edinburgh with. He was telling me how like Jimmy Carr had a corporate job and then entered comedy. It was like he had a 5-year plan and then he fucking did it and now he's a millionaire. And like I was like, God, I guess that makes so much sense. It does. If you hit it like a business wise.
I'll tell you, I may have slightly lied there because I said to myself, if I don't get anywhere when I'm 30, I was going to jack it in.
I'm sorry, what?
When I was going to jack it.
As opposed to jack it off?
Not to jack it off, jack it in. That's an English one as well, jack it in. Like, I can't.
I mean, I got the context.
You know
but
what I mean?
It sounded funny. Yeah. It's a reverse jack
It's a
off.
reverse jizz, a reverse crank. It's,
That's when you turn your hand and pretend
Yeah.
it's like the other person.
or sit on it forever, someone else. There's so many names. So I decided that if I'm 30, I'll probably think about writing it down and concentrate on my day-to-day job, because I was at the bank, but I never actually progressed well in my bank career because all I was thinking about was wrestling. So I'm doing payments and messing up because I'm thinking about, I've got to design my ring attire, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. What am I going to do the weekend? What match am I going to do? So at 30, I was going to jack it in, and then British Boot Camp just literally landed in my lap.
Wow.
In the August of my 29th year.
Oh, fuck.
And then got signed in the October. It aired in January, and then it was my 30th birthday on 30th of January of 2013, sorry. And then I was flying to America on the 3rd of February, and this new life started at 30. Life begins at 30.
That's crazy.
For James, in that sense. But
because I'll share my story, and then I have a question. Like, I was the same way. I remember being 23 and teaching at the school, and then also wrestling. I graduated, and then I had to get like a shitty job to support my wrestling habit, as Tracy Smothers would say. And I was teaching, and I was like, well, I'm going to still do this. And when I'm 30, if nothing's happened for me, I'm going to go get my teaching degree and become a full-time teacher. And then, I signed it with WWE at 27. That kind of all went out the window. But so it was the baby. So I did have something like that. Was the bank, was that something that you saw people move up? Is that a job where like you could have moved up to be like the CEO of the bank or something, or no? Or would you have been a teller for life kind of thing?
You'd have been a teller, but you'd be a grade 1 going to a 2 to a 3,
Okay.
but you're still a teller, or maybe, a team leader, or maybe an operations manager.
You never saw that as a full-time, like...
Not that I...
Or you did, after 30?
It was my full-time job, but after 30, I was like, I got to get a house, I got to save.
So what was the plan? Like, just move up in the bank?
Just focus on that more, tell them I want to sort this out. Because I was doing well at Barclays that I was at. I just started there like a couple of years before, and I was getting bonuses for the first time. It was the first time in my life, I think, I was actually doing really well at my day job as well as wrestling. So I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying life. It was really good. And then it landed in my lap. I don't know. You don't know if there's a plan out there for you or stuff, but I'm like, things kind of happened then. It was really cool. It was just...
Well, dare I say for you, and for those... So, Spud, the character, it's so funny to see the different... I don't know the word for it, but changes over the... right?
And haircuts.
And Spud, when I knew you, when you were first starting, you were in a full-piece onesie...
Covering that pigeon chest.
Covering up your pigeon chest. I don't even know. Spiky hair, very like maybe Dragon Ball Z-ish.
Yeah.
Would that be a good way?
Yeah.
And then you, you're one of these guys who was buzzing a little bit, even though you're young, but because and my voice cracked because I lost it again. But because you're working very hard, and you're trying to do stuff, and you're trying to be innovative, and obviously you had watched wrestling before, so you knew like how these guys got over, especially the indie guys. And maybe you come from a generation where it wasn't just about the Rocks and the Hogans, where some of these indie guys were stars, right? And you're like, ooh, I could also be that.
It was Jody and Johnny.
Yeah, there you go.
People that were at Ring of Honor, Paul London, CM Punk,
Right.
Colt Cabana. It was all you dudes that were on that first bloody batch of Ring of Honor guys that have gone on to do such amazing things now.
And then you were that guy. And then I went, like I went away, or maybe I got signed, and then I heard about Rockstar Spud. And like you just flipped the switch, right?
Yeah.
You just changed it all, which is, I guess you did keep Spud, but like it's always something I've always thought about is just like, I don't know if I'd have the balls to really change up Colt Cabana. It's like all the time you've put into it, and then all of a sudden you're changing. And also I think as people that, it's almost something that people at TNA do a lot, because TNA is like, well, here's your new name. It's like, well, in WWE a little bit, but like, it's like, oh, well, I've been wrestling as this for so long. Well, I guess I'm just somebody else now.
Yeah.
And you really changed it with the Rockstar thing, yeah?
I think it was just because I turned him heel, and it was something I always wanted to do.
You turned him heel. I like the idea.
Turned him heel.
Yeah.
It's my guy, because it's not me. I don't see it as anyway. I can turn the switch on. That's how I go to work, and then turn it off. So my guy turned bad guy, and it was just it was just a case of like, now I can be this total thing that I'm completely not.
Do you see that as where it all kind of, where you got it in your career, or no? From an outsider's perspective, that's what it seems, but maybe I'm totally wrong.
There were times growing up where you'd be wrestling people, but every match I was having was planned step for step in the back. And I think the first person, and this isn't just because you're here, the first person that I got in the ring with, and you weren't going to the plan, you were doing stuff and you were working with the audience and just taking me in like places that I'm like, what's going on? But like, and he's calling to me and saying this stuff. What's this? And that was against you. And we had this one match where it was like, you're like, okay, I'm going to give you 2 kicks. And before you'd even finish the sentence, I'm giving you 2 kicks. And you're like, no, not yet. And then I'm like, no, 2 kicks. And then bang, bang, no. And you're just hitting me like, stop. Just listen. I'm like, what's this? We didn't talk about this in the back. What's this? That was my first experience of like calling that some stuff out there. And I'm like, what's going on? Where I kind of got that was then to take that when I was wrestling, but when I turned heel, then I was like, right, now I'm in the spot you were, where I'm like, okay, I'm calling everything now. So that's how good the holiday camps were, because I started doing those, and obviously that's what a great education it is.
I didn't know you were a holiday camper.
I was in the summer holidays.
But
I only could do 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I saved my 2-week holiday instead of going to get pissed abroad.
Yeah.
My getting drunk on the weekend was going to camps. So I did 2 weeks straight with like Dave Mastiff, who, you know, even by a car journey, by the end of it, Dave wants to kill me. So 2 weeks on the camps, it was, you know, I'm probably buried somewhere in the middle of Cornwall or somewhere. So I'd wrestle Dave, but Dave would go, we'll call it out there. And I'm like, what? Yeah, we'll just call it out there. All right. And Dave, I'd listen to Dave, and then he'd turn it up, and you just did it there. And I'm like, this is what this is. I get it now. So then when I turned bad guy, it was just a case of, you know, being able to have that control, acting, being a personality that you're not, doing things to make yourself look an idiot and have the cake on your face because you're the bad guy, because that's how I saw myself. Just, he's a bumbling idiot. He's not really a rock star. He lives at home with his mom, has a normal job, but he just thinks he's a rock star. It was just something like that. So that was pretty much it. It was just all the bad traits of my personality just thrown into one.
And then I think the most fun story is so the boot camp falls in your lap, you win the thing, but it still seems like there's like, because we've been educated that the tough enough winner will then never be on television, right?
Just imagine, like, a lot of people go for a tryout, get signed. That's as much as you see as a line on a dirt sheet about it. When your whole journey is on 6 weeks of television and then you fail, that's added pressure. Because then it was like, right, I've got to make it now. So, okay, this is what... And
I mean, was that in the back of your head that everyone who's ever won... I know this is British Boot Camp, but the similar thing of WWE Tough Enough, those guys, even the last guy, he just got fired after he won it.
One, fired, took a stunner, left.
Yeah.
It was just, that's all he did. And I thought I was going to be like that because I went to OVW, and it was some of the best education I've had. It was really amazing. And then I got brought up to Louisville for a one-shot for this X Division show. And it was just, you get just put in a match. Here's a 3-way. Well, how are you going to, like, you know, you got to maximise your minutes, but you're just doing a spot match, really. So I ended up having a bit of a stern conversation with Eric Bischoff, which is like, I don't know how I did it, but I'm like pinching, my ass is pinching, because he goes, yeah, we're going to have you three go in there. And Trent Barretta was one of them. And he goes, Trent's going over. I'm like, so this is a new guy. Oh, shit. Arm up. Eric, look, I won British Boot Camp and I was a heel during the show. At the end of it, I cried. And then you bring me in to do a one-night-only pay-per-view where I'm babyface randomly against Wes Briscoe. Then at OVW, you're teaching me how to be a babyface. What do you want me to do here? Like, what we doing with this? And he goes, well, we just need Trent to go over. And then I just went, right, because I think I was frustrated by this point a little, even though it was only 6 months and there's some people that have been developmental for years, and I should have probably just shut my mouth, but I just went, right then, I'll be the heel, I'll get these two guys over so that everyone wants to see me beat, so whoever wins, yay. And he went, okay. And I just walked out. And then I just like sat down for a second. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get buried. I'm going to have so much heat now. And then I didn't get booked again after it. But I got the baby face over though, yay. But and then we get brought up 10, down the road where it was supposed to be Taryn Terrell instead of me. That was the chief of staff, which was really weird. And then So that was it. But you never thought, everyone was just like, yeah, he'll just get developmental, but it's short. He's not going to get brought up. I think they just had to give him that because it was supposed to be the Blossoms that were winning British Boot Camp.
I heard,
You know, so.
And I remember we had a conversation before you left, and you were like, I don't know. You're like, I'm not quitting my bank job because I'm just going to go over the 3 months, or like even like selling. You just didn't know.
They gave me 1 year's career leave.
That's what it was. It was 1 year, yeah.
Career leave.
Yeah.
So if it isn't working out and I'm not feeling it by then, I had the option to go back to the bank because
Right.
they did that favor for me because they were really cool. They were like, we want you to live this.
Pursue this, yeah.
And they gave me all the time off I needed to film. They were wonderful.
Cool. Yeah, and I remember thinking like smart, man. Like I want you to become the biggest star in the world, but you never fucking know. And especially then you just got shipped to like this half-assed developmental system in OVW.
Right.
Like OVW was like weird TNA developmental.
It was so strange sometimes, but you know, I just listened as much as I could, and my favourite days were like tape review, just watching your matches back and getting told how rotten you were, and then you know what I mean.
I remember those days when I was there. And then I mean, I guess you're kind of known as the bow tie guy with the. Is that what I guess? I don't know if that's still like. Obviously, you're just. It's progressed.
It's progressed. I did it because the bow tie thing was never given to me. They just went, "Oh, you're going to be Dixie's chief of staff." I went, "Yes, this will be awesome." So I actually just went and thought about every idiot I'd ever met in the bank. Every arse kisser, every company guy, every like,
That's
oh,
cool.
yes, madam, yes, madam. Made a little of a British thing with a load of British comedy references that only Brits would get. Because I remember Regal always talking about little things like that where he does carry on films. So I just did my own, like, but my generation's like Bottom and, you know, Phoenix Knights and Alan Partridge and all that stuff. So I just put a bow tie on because, like, if I ever saw someone walk into a bar with a bow tie, I'd think, what a plonker. Like, what an idiot. So it was just that really.
But it happens in England, I feel way more than America.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it was just all for heat. I was wearing
Sure.
a belt with jewels on, and it did not match what I was wearing. But that's what you'd point out. Like, his hair's stupid. His tan's ridiculous. Just anything I could that would just be, like, annoying. And when you just even looked at me, just annoying. That's all I could think of.
Yeah.
All I got.
Yeah. And you did it.
I did. I did that. Yeah. It was like, I didn't know where it was going to take me. You know, it was like you got an opportunity. And like, this is my one shot.
Yeah, but there was a point where it was like you and EC3 were really like, you know, the only thing I think like that was really like, I don't know. I'm not. You work for the company. I'm just saying from an outsider's perspective is that like, oh, I look forward to like kind of seeing on my television.
You look forward to the hunt for Willow. Oh my God.
To the what?
The hunt for Willow.
Yeah, well, no.
they made us go to Jeff Hardy's house in me in full commando gear, like I'm going on a manhunt and just rolling around in a shack while Jeff Hardy is dressed as this weird British speaking Willow guy. Yeah, with an beating EC3 with an umbrella as the payoff to the segment. I'm kidnapped with my own sock in my mouth, chained to the most disgusting, dirty barn like bed. It was somewhat from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but covered in leaves. But it's in Jeff's back garden just because, lol, I'm Jeff Hardy. It's just so like weird, and there's a barn where it's like just the weirdest thing I think I've ever done.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Exactly. Rooserific.
And again, just to finish this off, it's like again, it's here you are on television, still. I mean, doing TNA, Pop.
Yep.
Making it happen, and it's the story of this little dude. I slept on your floor in your room while I was on
Many times
when I was on tour over there, and now you're on TV and a wrestling star. It's pretty great.
It's all right. I don't ever see myself as a star, just still me, because I still see you guys, and I still feel like, you know, it's like we all grew up together and stuff. Like you know, it's just.
It's not for $20 and you know what I'm saying. It's.
I'd say everyone's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And
There's the ones
cool.
who grow and the ones who break out and the ones who don't. You know?
And I like to feel I've matured a bit more, because I remember you hated me for a period. I don't even know what I did. That's what hurt me.
You know what you did.
I was an idiot.
Well, you were just
gobby.
Remember how you say when you.
Just no self-awareness.
When you weren't self-aware that you're just talking and talking and talking.
I didn't even know what I was saying. Like, what did I do? I wanted to like and say like, I'm sorry if I ever upset you, but I didn't know what I did, and it was and we made up at the end when you said well done. And I felt like I lost a mate. I didn't know what I'd done. It was just being just generally gobby and like.
Fuck me, yeah.
Was I just an annoying guy? And you were like, I'm
yeah.
past people like this at the moment.
No, yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think just like you said, it was just like you were talking, and I think like and I think it stemmed to that Ring of Honor show where it was like we had that 4-way.
I don't know what. Yeah,
and it was just like it was just, I think everything was, and you were like, again, it's like knowing your roles in wrestling a little bit.
Yeah.
And you would come in, and I understand that you want to get over, and I think like, it's like trust us that we'll make sure you get over or get your cool shit in or what else.
And that's all it was. Like, wrestling's not about that, and like that was a big learning curve for me because like it's the first time someone's actually said you need to learn respect about this, and like I was like, okay, and I actually went away and was just like. Yeah, and that's probably where Rockstar Spud came from because I kind of then went to Brian and then went and did all that.
But I know it sounds weird. Like there's these weird unwritten rules of wrestling.
We never knew them
about
in England. We
but
never
also,
knew them. So bad.
I think they go within everything in the world. And even if you went into the bank and you were the guy at the bank. The first day, and
I was still like that at the bank, sadly, at that time.
But that guy who's been there for 20 years, and it's like, hey, man, that guy's putting his time at that bank. And it's like, this new guy is like,
yep.
That's just how it works, I think.
I don't know if it was a lot of pressure, because it was a lot of pressure when you like working for Ring of Honor, because you want to be on Ring of Honor.
Of course.
And maybe I put the pressure on myself, and that's how I kind of like made myself a tool. But like, I'll probably be a tool again, but I think I learned from everything like that. But I'm glad I made mistakes like that. Like, I mean,
you landed on your feet, man. You're like not
as a person, I felt a lot better for making these mistakes. So now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, you made that mistake, but like, and that's why I was so happy. Like when we saw each other on the way out, because I hadn't spoke to you probably for years, and it's like I said, I felt like I lost a mate, but I was so happy that you came up to me and go, hey man, just want to say, I know I ain't spoke to you, but I'm so really happy for you.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it's genuine.
And that meant a lot to me, mate. It really
meant a lot to me, like, and I'm feeling the feelings right now. It's kind of weird.
Is that goosebumps or weird?
Yeah, I'm shedding a tear. No, but it just, like and kind of like I was saying, like before we came in here, I was like, I'm back with Ring of Honor, and it's like,
yeah,
you just let stuff go, and it's like not that like I was ever like pissed at you, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like the idea of like, fuck, man, small. Short life, who gives a fuck, whatever, like, and like it was a little on me. It's like, why would I don't like that I was holding anything, maybe, it's just like it's so much fun when it's just like all hippies and roses and love.
No, it is. And I think we're all thinking that, life is short, and you think that even more now with what happened to Chris, and like our buddy Chris Travis has just passed away, and you just like you do realise life is too short.
Right.
Like, and he
be mad that you wanted to call a spot and I was the veteran of the match.
Exactly.
Right?
And like, I mean, it's just, it's a small life, and like, and I've had situations recently where I've had like friends mad at me because I haven't put time in with them, or have said I'll be somewhere, but then I get dragged somewhere else, and I feel like I'm getting pulled in every direction, and I can't make time for everyone, and then you feel like you haven't got time to send a text or stuff, so they feel little rejected, and it's just a case of some days, like if people want to wake up and be angry, they're going to be angry regardless. But if you wake up and you see what the day brings and have a smile on your face, I think positivity kills everything. Really.
Happy bus, my friend.
Exactly, a happy bus.
Lanny Poffo from Red Bestine said the best. Jump on the happy bus. Where are you at on the internet, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Rockstar Spud, Instagram Rockstar_Spud, and Facebook Rockstar 5 PUD, because someone took the S. Jackasses. I'll find that guy. It's probably just a khaki fake account as well. And it's just.
And when's Impact on?
Impact's on every Tuesday, 9/8 Central on Pop TV. I know this spiel off by heart now. Yeah. Just like recently, it just feels like you're putting another network in instead of at the same time. But it's every week you can catch us. We got a good show, man, and it's been a real good show this year ever since the move to Pop. Concise stories, development. People know where they want to go next week and see where they want the characters to go. So we've got a fun wrestling show. There's a lot of negativity that surrounds it from people going, oh, I'm not watching that because they feel like they've been burnt by it before. But it's a good show with a lot of young, hungry guys and a lot of good people. And morale is high, just letting you know.
Am I missing anything else?
I don't think so.
That's it.
Just thanks for having me, because I haven't spoken to you for a long time properly, and it's awesome to hang out,
Yeah, and this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I didn't know if you wanted to do. Like I thought. Maybe maybe he doesn't want to do this. I don't know.
I always did. I just like every time it was like, oh, I'm sorry, mate. I've got this now.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, man. And then I don't ever want to be the guy who.
It nearly didn't happen today, didn't it? It nearly didn't happen today because on the way to the house and you went 5:30. I was like, oh, Chris, I've just forgot I'm going to do Cabana's podcast. And we're halfway there. I go, right, I'm going to freshen up, he can get me back in 15 minutes.
No,
So
I'll leave you alone forever.
Yeah, we got it.
It can just be on a hangout tip. It doesn't me bugging you to do my podcast.
I hope so. I'll drink and you won't, and then it'll be just curb me in if I get obnoxious again.
We'll have cold mugs. You can have a beer. I'll be
Bring it back to the beers.
Thanks for being on, bud.
Thank you, buddy.
See, that was sweet. Two grown men talking about feelings. It is a great story. I mean, he's a small guy. He's a small dude, and he's killing it. There's so many people that ask me, can I be a wrestler? I'm super small. Or can I be a wrestler? I'm 28 years old. Here's the reality. Odds are slim. Yes, odds are slim. But there are people that do it, and you can be the one that does it. Just has to do with how much work, dedication, how much time, and sometimes a little luck. But it is possible. Evan Bourne, Rey Mysterio, Rockstar Spud, getting shit done. They are smaller than you are, and they are doing amazing for themselves. Spud, thank you for being on the show. Before we get out of here, let's get into some plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, best way that you can support ColtMerch.com, digitalcolt.com, Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW Podcast, also /Colt Cabana, ColtWrestling@gmail.com, CutMyPromo.com, WorstPromoEver.com. That's all my YouTube stuff. ColtCabana.com is my website. You can get my P.O. Box on there. Upcoming Saturday, April 23rd, Brooklyn, New York, WrestleProOnline.com. Sunday, April 24th, Somerville, Massachusetts, Facebook /Beyond Wrestling. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, April 28th, 29th, and 30th, Louisville, Cincinnati, Chicago. ColtCabana.com on the front page is where you can find that ticket information. Comedy shows, gonna be a blast. Friday, May 6th, Marionette Park, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Saturday, May 7th, Niagara Falls, Ontario, HouseOfHardcore.net. Sunday, May 8th, Chicago Ridge, Illinois, ROHWrestling.com. Hey. Thursday, May 12th, Omaha, Nebraska, PWPLive.net. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, May 13th, 14th, and 15th, Joppa, Maryland, Penn Laird, Virginia, Hickory, North Carolina, GlobalForceWrestling.com. Saturday, May 21st, Bristol, England, ProWrestlingChaos.com. Friday and Saturday, May 27th, 28th, Cleveland, Ohio, AIWrestling.com. And all of August, I'm going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, Pleasance.co.uk. That is the show for this week. All right, thank you to you at home for listening. You know I truly appreciate it. Thank you to Spud, Rockstar Spud, that is. Cable Guy Jeff, Stu Stone, Kid Russell, Matt Jenkins. Thanks to Dane Miller. HighSpots.com. Thank you guys. A VOD service that is unbelievable. It's got PWG on there, has the $5 wrestlings on there, has the WrestleCon stuff. They also have AMA knee pads. They got gear. You can buy a wrestling ring from HighSpots. Thanks to OneHourTees.com. They help run ProWrestlingTees.com. Independent wrestlers selling independent t-shirts and making some money because you are buying it. TweakedAudio.com/Colt, the earbuds that I use. Get over 30% off and free shipping just because you listen to the show. That is the show for the week. I'm just going to be walking around the city, vining everything. 7.4 million loops is what that vine of me putting a sticker on Brian Cage's back got. And who knows how many. I think it had over 1 million with World Star and funny vines. Killing it, man. I'm a Vine star now. Thinking about quitting the biz. Just getting into vining. Just walking around, me and Sanjay just vining the world. Me and that kid from Drake and Josh. A couple girls that I'm in love with who vine. You know, we're just going to make a crew. A clique. It's like the 5-4 club of vining. That's what I'm into. I put the vines of my guests every week. Nobody looks at Vine, but I put a vine up every week with my guest. Check it out. I dare you. All right, this has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.